Y'all, it's your girl Rayven Alexis here, and I am back with another podcast. Welcome to Real Talks, hosted by your girl, me, Rayven Alexis. Today I am doing a podcast by myself. As you guys can see, my mom, she had mouth surgery, and so that she's still recovering from that. Who thought it would be a 4-week recovery? But hey, she's still recovering from that. And my sister, she is not here right now, and I was just like, let's just do a podcast. I feel like I need to get some things off my chest. And yeah, I was like, you know what? I started this podcast for real talks. And I feel like if I'm not going to be organically able to come on here and just be myself, there is no reason for me to be doing these podcasts. Now, of course, the 2 episodes you guys have seen, that's me, but I want to be more open, more vulnerable to coming on here and actually having a podcast and not be so I don't want to say afraid, but not be so like, oh, I don't know if I should say this, or I don't know if I should say that, because I feel like that's not real. So yeah, I just feel like I wanted to get on here by myself and just talk to you guys about everything that your girl been feeling over the last couple of weeks. So you guys know that I started the podcast about, let's see, I think we missed 2 weeks. So I started the podcast about 4 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm bringing this family talk into the situation. And yeah, that's still going to happen. But today I'm just going to just be me and just basically just speak. So your girl is tired. Like, I am tired. I feel like, I don't know, y'all. Like, okay, it's nothing to do with it's nothing to do with the pandemic or anything like that. But I am honestly drained, and I understand people be drained all the time, and things might happen. But I am honestly drained, and I'm irritated, and I'm just like annoyed at this point. Like my sister and my mom, they might say like, you know, do this, or not even that. They might just say, like, hey, like, how do you boost up your, like, how can I put it? They might just be like my mom today. She was like, hey, she was like, what's up with your productivity? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, she was like, is it the setup, or like, what is it? Not just with the podcast, but of course, everything else I have going on. She was like, is it anything to do with the setup? And I'm like, no, it's not the setup. I was like, I think it's more so me. Like, I just don't have the umph. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I get the umph, and then sometimes it's like, yeah, I just ain't got the umph no more. And today is like one of those days, and I feel like I've been like that for a couple of days. And it's not, I've posted YouTube videos and things like that, but it's like trying to keep up with the moving days is just like, it's getting to the point where it's just so it's so much going on. Like, I'm a mom and everything, and I run a business, and I'm doing a podcast, and I'm on YouTube, and I assist. So like other, my sister, my brother, anybody else who needs assistance, I assist. And it's finally like, how can I put it, in me that I feel like I pour and I never like gain back. So it's almost like, and it's for my own self. Like, I do this for me. I do this for everybody. I do help myself. I do all this stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, eventually you're going to get tired. Like, eventually you're going to feel like you need a break. And the thing about it is, I don't always feel like it's physical. I feel like it's mentally needing a break. And that's like a lot. That's something I really have to work on. Like, I feel like I mentally overwork myself, and my mom, my sister, everybody tells me like I mentally overwork myself. And so when I mentally overwork, I only physically work half of what I mentally do. And so when when I get to the point where I'm like, I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna work. Like, your girl about to I can't do it no more. I've only done 50% of what my mind has been, you know what I'm saying, been racing to do. And I just wanted to get on here today and say, I just wanted to be open and be vulnerable to the situation, that, and just basically tell and let you know that that's all right. Because other people go through it and we don't see it. Like, we don't always see it on like the media of what's going on. And it's like, really and truly, me personally, I'm mentally like running, and physically I've only done 50% of what my mind has been telling me to do. And you just break down, and I feel like that needs to be spoken about. I feel like we need to be aware of that, because if we're not aware of ourselves and we're not able to actually push ourselves, or actually get like realize that, hey, this is my problem. I mentally race and I physically do half of what I'm mentally doing. And so my mind is just rapidly running, and I feel like I haven't done no work. And then I get to the point where when I have rapidly went on about in my mind and I've done half of the work, I'm burnt out. And I sit and I look around and like, okay, where is the remainder of what I've been thinking about? And so, yeah, I feel like it just needs to be, we need to be aware of that and understand that that happens, and understand that we can talk about it so we can figure out ways we can fix it. And I've realized, like, one of the ways I'm able to fix it is to write things down. But then I write things down, and sometimes I get upset because I can't check it off my list. So I'm like, okay, I write down this, that, and this, and I can't even check off what I told myself I would be doing. And it's just, it's just really just, like, honestly. But I feel like I'm working on it, and I feel like we all can work on it if we have that issue, because I feel like we just need to, especially for someone that has a responsibility at home, or has a lot more on their plate, we cannot force ourselves to do 80 things on the opposite side. Like, I think I set so many goals for myself where, like, in one day I want to complete 10 tasks. That's not, like, it's possible, but by the time you do the 10 tasks that you, like you said you were going to do, you're going to look back and realize they're halfway done, or you're going to look back and realize they're not the best work. And so I feel like we have to, like, slow down a little bit and really, excuse me, y'all, but slow down a little bit and really, truly, like, try to complete 2 to 3 things on that list, and do it at the best of your ability. And I feel like that would help us out so much, because at that point, if you're like me and you have 15 things in your head and you only done 8, really and truly, you have to really slow down and try to at least put like 2 things on that list you can accomplish. For instance, I was not going to film this podcast today. And guess what I was going to do? I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, my mom's going to get back out of surgery. I'm going to be able to film or get back out of recovery, like her recovering state. And I'm going to be able to go ahead and film the podcast with her and get my sisters together. And I'm like, I realized that I don't know when that was going to happen, honestly. So, because we didn't expect 3 weeks to go by for my mom to, like, 3 to 4 weeks to go by for my mom's surgery to be better. And I also didn't expect my sister not to be readily available to do the podcast. And so I would have just sat there and, like, done nothing. But instead I said, you know what? I'm going to get up today and I'm going to do my makeup. And I am going to go downstairs, and whenever I feel like I have the time to film a podcast, I'm going to film it by myself, because I had to realize that at the end of the day, number one, I started this podcast for myself. So I didn't start it for like nobody else. Like, I started for it to be therapeutic for me. I wanted to be able to voice out what was being said at my table with my mom and my sister. And I wanted to voice out what was being thought of in my head that I could just say without having to like, said and then it be gone. Like I wanted it to be a lasting effect of what I said. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm going to film this podcast and I'm going to post this podcast. So today you're watching a podcast that was filmed today. And that's just me being open to letting you guys in on what the heck is going on over here and how I'm feeling. And like I said, I feel like that's the best way to be. Like I want to make sure that this is a open podcast and I'm being my true self by speaking, because that's exactly what I want to happen when I do a podcast. I want to be true to myself with this podcast so that when you're watching this podcast, you're like, hey, she was being honest. She was being real. She was stating her true feelings. And I feel like that's like the best way to go about doing anything in life. So especially doing what I'm doing right now, this podcast and people speaking, I want you to understand that, hey, my mind races too. Like I don't get stuff done. And when I don't get it done, I'm upset. And when I don't feel like I can get it done, I don't do it. And I'm like, girl, like, and at the end of the day, I do so much, but I still have those same effects. I still feel like I'm mad because I couldn't do this one thing on my list, but I made this list that's 15 things long. That's too much for me. It might not be too much for my sister. It might not be too much for my brother. It might not be too much for people that I know, but it's too much for me. Just like I was telling my mom the other day, we don't know the plate of someone else. But yet we're like, they could be doing that, like they could be doing this, but nobody knows the plate of nobody else. And if I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at my self-talk. Sorry y'all, I do that. But we don't know the plate of somebody else. It just like, somebody's probably saying, girl, you could be doing this, that, and the third. Just like I might say, that girl could be doing all that type of stuff. But you don't know the plate that somebody is carrying, whether it's a physical plate, a mental plate, a burnt out plate, like, you know what I'm saying? A full plate. Or one person. It doesn't matter what kind of plate that person have. We cannot say that something else might be a little easier because they don't see, you know what I'm saying? They don't see, like the person that might not be doing what I'm doing and might have it a little harder, may feel like I got it the easiest. But guess what? I feel like the person over there that's not doing what I'm doing and I got it a little harder, that they got it easier. And that's not honestly the thing. Cause like I said, I have to like sometimes think, okay, girl, you are a parent and you are doing things on your own, like you're parenting and you're trying to just get, everything together. You're trying to do this. You love sewing and you love podcasting and you found a love for just being in front of a camera and being able to speak to people. And it's like, I can't expect to be doing 80 things because at the end of the day, when this podcast is over with, I still have other things life-wise that I have to go do. So yeah, I just really want to just get on this podcast today and just be open and just say, at the end of the day, don't feel like you got it difficult. You got it difficult and somebody else has it easy, because that's not always true, right? So, and if you also feel like you can't get things done, try to lessen what you want to get done. So if you know that there's 5 days in a week, instead of trying to pack 5 things to do in that 5 days of that work week, then let's just do 2 things a day instead of 5 things a day. Let's just do 2 things a day. So you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 things done because you did 2 a day. Rather than doing 5 things a day, and that's supposed to be 25 things done in a week, then you looking back on Saturday like, I didn't do nothing. Like, you overwhelmed. I guess the word for that is just being overwhelmed. And I just want to come out here and say, hey, we don't have to be overwhelmed. And I'm overwhelmed. And I feel like just speaking, like just me talking right now has made me even more relaxed. And so I don't think we have to be overwhelmed with trying to get so much done. Let's just get 2 things, 1 thing, however your day and your time and like whatever they allows it to do, get that done, write that list out, and I promise you it's gonna work. I'm trying it now and it's working. Like I say, I wasn't gonna film this podcast, but I have done other things I was supposed to do today, and it's done. I was just able to fill in and come into this podcast because I was like, I'm about to do a podcast. I need to get some things off my chest. And so yeah, like just do 1-2 things a day. And like I said, whatever your time permits you to do. Are you able to do that? And if you are one of those people that's able to do 5 things in a day and have 25 things done at the end of the week, go girl. And if you are the person that can only do 1 thing a day and have 5 things done by the end of the week, go girl. We're all on this track to get to where we need to get to, but we're all on a different track. We're on a track, but it's all different. And I think whatever you have in store and whatever God has for you, it's going to basically be yours. And so yeah, that's gonna be all I'm going to talk about in this podcast today. I love you guys, and if you are watching, please leave a comment down below. And if you like this podcast, go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next podcast. Bye. Hopefully my mom and my sister's here. Yeah, anyway, I will see you guys. But I kind of like this. Like, I feel like I like this. I'm gonna say that I like this. So I might be open to doing this. I thought, honestly, I felt like I needed like my mom, my sister here to like push this conversation. But I'm like here right now, and we're 16 minutes in, and I've had a full conversation, and I'm talking to you guys. So really and truly, I like this, and I'll probably do more of this. But yeah. So I will see you guys in my next podcast. Like I said, I love you guys. Like this video, comment anything. You can comment any advice, any suggestions, or you can comment some questions. And if you feel like sometimes your questions might be too much, then you don't want to comment that, you can always follow me on Instagram and DM me. My Instagram is Rayven Alexis _. And you guys can DM me. I DM back, so that'll be awesome. Just to have that conversation. I know some things want to be happening in private. And yes, I will see you guys in my next podcast. Bye.